Sources say business representatives invited to inspect the Northern Metropolis planning area later this week. The first testing phase of driverless Robotaxi service at Hong Kong International Airport could be launched by the year's end at the earliest. And in Pakistan, Islamabad locked down ahead of protests seeking an ex-prime minister's release. Hello and welcome to TVB News. Sources say the government has invited business representatives to inspect the Northern Metropolis planning area this Friday. During the inspection, the parties will reportedly sign a letter of intent on the support and participation in the site's development. Timothy Lee reports.
Hong Kong and Macau Affairs Office Director Hsien Loong earlier met with business and industrial sector representatives at the start of this month, calling for further support for the SAR government and the realization of long-term development goals. Hsien also mentioned the Northern Metropolis planning area at the meeting. Sources said in a bid to implement the spirit of the occasion, the government has invited representatives from the banking and development sectors, as well as foreign-owned businesses to inspect the planning area on Friday. The inspection party, led by Financial Secretary Paul Chan, will be given a tour around the Hong Kong Shenzhen Innovation and Technology Park and the Hong Shui Kiu Ha Chun New Development Area in the morning. The participants will then join Chief Executive John Lee for lunch at the Central Government Complex, before holding a letter of intent signing ceremony in the afternoon. This as lawmaker Lau Kwok Fan from the New Territories North constituency said there will be post-ceremony discussions between businesses about how to properly finance and develop the Northern Metropolis. As stated in the Chief Executive's latest policy address, the Northern Metropolis will adopt a pilot large-scale land disposal approach, under which sizable land parcels with commercial value will be selected and granted to successful bidders of collective development. Lawmaker Hui Simon Lee, who is also Chief Strategic Officer of China Resources Group in the Greater Bay Area, said the organization has experience with similar measures in the mainland, adding the government wishes to utilize the market to resolve issues regarding the use of land. Meanwhile, Chief Executive John Lee led a delegation of leaders from business and industrial sectors to visit the Greater Bay Area today and attended a forum on deepening business exchanges between the SAR and the GBA. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
The observatory says a cold front moving from the north is expected to arrive on the Guangdong coastline tonight at the earliest. Temperatures in the urban area will gradually drop throughout the week, reaching a low of around 15 degrees Celsius on Thursdays and Friday mornings. Temperatures in the New Territories could be 2 to 3 degrees lower. The Senior Citizen Home Safety Association has reminded elderly residents to avoid carrying heavy items or engaging in risky activities during this time. That's because they're expected to put on extra clothing, making it easier for them to lose their balance. A mainland online car hiring platform, Apollogo, plans to start Robotaxi service in Hong Kong. The first testing phase of the driverless cars will be launched at Hong Kong International Airport by the end of this year at the earliest. Mimo Singhai reports.
These cars can be hired through the online platform Apollogo. While they look no different from normal vehicles, they are not controlled by drivers. Users can reserve a car by making an appointment through the Apollogo app or on WeChat. The car arrived 5 minutes after the order was placed, and passengers need to input the last 4 digits of their phone numbers to get in. Only 3 people are allowed on each driverless vehicle. To start the car, passengers have to confirm their destination and fasten the seatbelt. The vehicle can adjust its travel speed, including slowing down when there's heavy traffic on the road. The 12-kilometer journey costs 12 yuan after discounts, which is only half the price charged by usual online car hiring platforms. Apollogo's driverless service was launched in Wuhan in August last year, bringing people between Tianhe International Airport and the city center. The platform's mother company, Baidu, also plans to expand its operation in Hong Kong. The Transport Department said Baidu had submitted an application for autonomous driving last month. The documents are being examined by the authorities. News 9, TVB News.
Pakistan's capital Islamabad was put under a security lockdown on Sunday. Thousands of supporters of the jailed former Prime Minister Imran Khan were arrested ahead of planned protests calling for his release. The government suspended mobile and internet services in areas with security concerns. Authorities didn't specify the areas, nor did they say how long the suspension would be in place. Highways leading to Islamabad have been blocked as Khan supporters are expected to approach the city via these highways. Most major roads in the city have also been blocked by shipping containers and a large contingent of police. Khan has been behind bars for more than a year. He has more than 150 criminal cases against him, but he still remains popular. A DHL cargo plane crashed in Lithuania's capital this morning, killing at least one person and injuring 3 others on board. Authorities said the cause of the accident is under investigation. The cargo plane arriving from Leipzig in Germany crashed on the outskirts of Vilnius airport at around 5:30 a.m. It skidded for at least 100 meters before its debris caught a nearby house and set it on fire. The aircraft was identified as a Boeing 737-400. It was reported that 2 people were taken to hospital and one was later pronounced dead. Investigators are considering various possible causes, such as technical failure and human error. The European Union's top diplomat Josep Borrell said Sunday that he's not convinced Israel is interested in a ceasefire with the Lebanese militant group Hezbollah, or that it is ready to withdraw its troops from southern Lebanon. This as Hezbollah fired about 250 rockets and other projectiles into Israel, wounding 7 people in response to Israel's attack on Beirut. Meanwhile, an Israeli strike on a Lebanese army center killed a soldier and wounded 18 others in the southwest of the country. Tracy Furness has more.
Scenes in Ranatya, central Israel, Sunday. Rockets fired from Lebanon causing heavy damage in what appears to be a residential area. Projectiles too damaging residential buildings in Haifa. Israeli police said several people suffered minor injuries from shock and shrapnel. And several cars caught fire in the central city of Petah Tikva. Several people were treated for injuries and shock. Meanwhile, the Israeli military released a video purportedly showing strikes on Hezbollah rocket launchers and on a site near the Lebanon-Syria border. Another video shows Israeli forces operating in South Lebanon. The Israeli army said in a statement that its forces killed a large number of Hezbollah militants and located and destroyed hundreds of weapons storage facilities. This as the European Union's top diplomat, Josep Borrell, called for pressure on both Israel and Hezbollah to reach a ceasefire deal, saying one was pending with a final agreement from the Israeli government. Borrell said the EU is supporting the Lebanese people and army.
We are ready to devote 200 million euros to the Lebanese armed forces. And I have asked Prime Minister Mikati what and how we can support your army, not only financially, but also technically. And I will do the same thing to the Lebanese Air Force Commander Aoun.
Tracy Furness, TVB News.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has signed a law granting debt forgiveness to new army recruits who enlist to fight in Ukraine. The measure appeared on a government website Saturday, underscoring Russia's need for military personnel in the nearly 3-year war. The war has strained Russian resources as Putin in recent months called for the military to increase its troops by 180,000. This as Ukraine's security service showed footage of wreckage of Russia's new experimental ballistic missile, which struck a factory in the city of Dnipro. They said it is the first time that remains of such a missile have been discovered in Ukraine. Still ahead, former Singapore leader Hsien Loong confirms he will soon pass on the ruling party's top post to Lawrence Wong. A Chinese cutter suction dredging vessel helping the UAE build an artificial island. Welcome back. Singapore's ex-leader Hsien Loong has confirmed that he'll step down as Secretary General of the ruling People's Action Party. Addressing a party conference yesterday, Lee said he would propose Prime Minister Lawrence Wong to take over from him as party chief during the next Central Executive Committee meeting, which is expected within a few weeks. Danny Zhou reports.
Yesterday, Singapore's ruling People's Action Party elected its new Central Executive Committee at the biannual PAP Awards and Conference. The top decision-making body comprises 12 members who will lead PAP into the high-stakes general election due in the coming year. Hsien Loong, now Singapore's senior minister, said he would step down as PAP's Secretary General, a post that he has held since November 2004. He said he would remain on the Central Executive Committee in a supporting and advisory role. Lee also announced the transition in party leadership.
When the new CEC meets, I intend to propose to the CEC to elect Deputy Sec Gen Lawrence Wong to take over from me as the next Secretary General.
Whereas Wong said Singaporeans must be united, given the wars raging in Europe and the Middle East, as well as tensions in China-US relations. He pledged to take Singapore forward in building a more fair, equal and inclusive society, and said the PAP would continue to refresh itself to uphold core values such as honesty, integrity and incorruptibility. The next general election would be a hard-fought one for the PAP, involving a new generation of voters and changes in people's expectations, according to Lee. Meanwhile, Wong noted that in the 2020 general election, the opposition had warned Singaporeans against an opposition wipeout. He said there is no chance of that happening at all. He added that given the desire for more opposition voices, the bigger risk the PAP faces is the loss of a stable and strong and good government. Wong stressed that the party must come out in front to explain its policies and work hard to secure every vote to win the mandate to govern. Danny Zhou, TVB News.
In modern marine engineering, the construction of ports and airports often requires island building technology. To serve that need, a cutter suction dredger developed by a Chinese company has been helping the United Arab Emirates build an artificial island in the waters off its coast. Jackie Lin with more.
Off the coast of Abu Dhabi, an oasis in the desert of the Middle East, and on the waters of the Persian Gulf, Tianquan Hao, the Chinese-made cutter suction dredger, is tasked with an island-building mission. Built in 2018, Tianquan Hao is China's first self-developed heavy-duty, self-propelled cutter suction dredger. Critical to its operation is a giant reamer in the stern. It can crush rocks on the seabed and then use vacuum pipes to suck them into the giant milk pump inside the ship. The rocks can then be placed 15 kilometers away to build an artificial island.
就比如说这个岛吧，通过咱们这个天宫号。
Ran Ganqiang, Tianquan's vice captain, said it takes Tianquan around a year and a half to build an artificial island. With manual labor, the project could take a decade with a manpower of 10,000 to 20,000 workers needed. The dredging prowess of Tianquan is now the strongest in Asia. Its long-distance transport capacity is also #1 in the world.
技不如人的时候，感觉太憋屈的慌了。咱们一定要发展自己的技术。
The vice captain of the Tianquan said the dredging industry used to be dominated by Western companies. The domestically developed dredging technology in China has come to fruition after several generations of effort. Last year, it took Tianquan Hao just 8 months to build its first artificial island off Abu Dhabi. A Along with other shipping companies, it built a 51 square kilometer island, which is larger than the Kowloon Peninsula. Jackie Lin, TVB News.
Former media tycoon and founder of the now-defunct Apple Daily, Jimmy Lai, today continued taking the stand to defend himself against national security charges. Lai faces 2 counts of conspiracy to collude with foreign forces and 1 count of conspiring to publish seditious materials. Mimo Singhai reports.
The national security trial of Jimmy Lai resumed at West Kowloon Court this morning. Lai continued his testimony on day 96 of the trial. The defense played a WhatsApp audio in court. In it, Lai said there was no need for the English edition of Apple Daily to choose writers who would provide a balanced view of Hong Kong's situation to foreign readers. Instead, he said the newspaper had to focus on protecting Hong Kong, adding that's the voice the world wants to know. Lai also said Apple Daily wanted to break the dominance of South China Morning Post by reporting news that the latter would not. When the defense asked Lai whether Apple Daily would not report positive news about China, the former media tycoon agreed. In the English news WhatsApp group, Lai said many media organizations in the U.S. wanted to interview him because they wanted to support Apple Daily. Lai said it was time to focus on U.S. readers because they could become a massive support pillar for the newspaper. Addressing the court, Lai said he had hoped U.S. readers would pass on Apple Daily's voice to American politicians, which in turn would give support to the social movement in Hong Kong. The defense asked Lai if Apple Daily's slogan, "An apple a day keeps the fake news away," acted as the guiding principle of the newspaper. Lai said the newspaper had hoped to achieve what the slogan said. He also said Apple Daily would report the truth even if that could incite others to discuss government matters. He added Apple Daily would not do anything that would go against the law. Hearing continues on Wednesday. Memos 9, TVB News.
Sources said the government could unveil its blueprint for the arts and culture and creative industries development tomorrow at the soonest. The blueprint aims to promote Chinese traditional culture, establish platforms to foster exchanges between Chinese and foreign cultures, and to develop diverse international cultural industries. Authorities have also suggested 71 measures to expand the economic scale of the industry from $120 billion 2 years ago to $200 billion in 2034, and increase relevant jobs in the sector from 220,000 to 260,000. Around 2,500 panda sculptures will be put on display at 4 locations across the city starting next month. Organizers hope this will provide new business opportunities and help develop Hong Kong's panda economy. These sculptures will initially be showcased at the apron of Hong Kong International Airport on the 2nd of December. The panda sculptures will then be put on display at 4 locations: the Avenue of Stars, Ngong Ping Village, Ocean Park, and Sun Yat-sen Memorial Park between the 7th and 26th of December. 6 of them are made to resemble Ying Ying, Lele, and the other pandas currently residing in the city. That's the news. Thanks for watching. Pearl Magazine is up shortly. See you then.